So Andy, let's move on to the formative years. And the question is, how did you get into your role of life's journey, which eventually led us to metallurgy and uranium? And I understand that already in school you were proving useful or helpful to people.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, all through grade school and high school, in the middle of the class, teacher would call me up and say, either take these students in the corner and try to teach them what their problem is. And also would send me out when they forgot something to bring to class. They said, you don't have to worry, Andy, you know it. But it meant that I had to study harder.
Was this in the science area? Was this in the science area?
High
or
school.
I mean,
General.
It was general.
Correct. And so I had a good rapport with the teachers, let's say. And they were using me to show some of the other students.
Okay, that's great. And in college, you also were doing things that led you into this field, right?
Yes. One reason I got into metallurgy, my first choice would have been going into medical school. And I liked history, so I felt sure that we were going to be involved in a war in Europe. And I was about sophomore, and I decided there's no way I would be able to stay out of the service for 7 years.
So this is around 1939 or so, right?
Earlier.
Earlier.
And so I grew up not far from the Ohio River, which was really an industrial breadbasket for our country, with all the industries up and down the Ohio River up to Pittsburgh and all the towns. And the steel mills were very important. So I decided to find out what's involved. I even went and had a meeting with the Wheeling Steel Director of Research as a sophomore. And I was convinced that's where I was going to aim. And I had found out what was required in the way of credits to get into engineering, and made sure my high school courses were all aimed in that direction. And it turned out, but big obstacle was that we were in the greatest depression the world had ever seen, believe me. And when the banks folded up, it wasn't just the big banks. Banks across the whole country just went under. And like in our town, we had one bank, and my parents and everybody else, whatever savings they had, they lost. And as the Depression went along, when the industries weren't working, utilities weren't producing power, which meant they didn't require coal. So it was a chain effect from the utilities, the manufacturers, to the suppliers, of all of this. And when I graduated, my oldest brother invited me to Detroit for a vacation. And
this is from high
I'm
school, right? This is from high school.
Right from high school. And I'm a worker. They would go to work, and there I had to find out what to do with myself during the day. And don't ask me how, but I got a job with a company owned roofing company that was a pretty good sized company, because when they built the first super highway between Detroit and Chicago, that meant they had to build a lot of new gas stations. And so he got the contract to put the roofs on all these gas stations between Chicago and Detroit.
And you were working for this company.
So I got a job, and I made some money, and I decided, well, maybe I could get started going to Ohio State. And the owner came to me, tried to talk me out of it. He said, I'll make you a supervisor, have my brother-in-law teach you the business. But I did the right thing. I went home, and I had a good school, science, high school training, and so I applied to Ohio State, and I was fortunate with the support of, I'm sure, teachers and other people. Ohio State had a cooperative honors dorm that really made the difference. And so I got started, and during the summers, I worked with my dad in the coal mines for 2 summers to make money to get back to school.
Did that convince you not to work in the coal mines in the
After 2 years as superintendent and the foreman, they talked to me and said, Andrew, if you can't find a job, we'll find you a job, but we recommend that you find a job in some other area. If you continue to come working in the coal mines, you'll get stranded for life, like you see these other coal miners, young people. So I took their advice, and after my sophomore year, I went up to Detroit and got a job with Briggs Manufacturing Company. They were a parts supplier for the automobile industry, General Motors, Chrysler, and for the first job I was, after they completed the job, they laid off the whole group, but the supervisor came over to me and said, Andy, don't worry, and I have to do this, but we'll find a job for you. And so I got into the Briggs Manufacturing, and I ended up as a lab assistant